I want to try and get through the summary of what we did quite quickly so that I can actually show you the project on the web. We worked with Camden Council to create a website. It was actually to update an existing website and expand the content, and the URL for the website is yourlife.org.uk, so you can have a look at it. The brief was to redesign and expand content for a council website, providing information to Camden's young people about sexual health, mental health, and substance misuse. And so there's an expansion of content on an older site that I think just provided information about sexual health.
It was just about chlamydia,
Actually, in particular.
which is obviously not very popular, and then we went on to sexual health, and then we've got to this point now.
What we did in response to this brief was we started with the idea of a design that might establish a continuity between the familiarity and sense of ownership that Camden's young people have with their neighborhood and the availability of services related to health and well-being issues that might be sort of uncomfortable or sticky to approach. We kind of wanted to create a relationship between them, and we wanted to speak to young people directly and avoid a patronizing voice. So at Central St. Martin's, the way that we structured things was we had a graduate designer named Duarte, who was a recent graduate of the BA in graphic design. And then we had myself as the tutor supervising and mentoring him through the project. For Duarte, this was a chance to take on a larger scale project than he might have been able to take on at this moment in his career as a freelancer. And both myself and Duarte were excited about working with local government on a project that's engaged with the community. And Duarte did the bulk of the design and the technical development work for the website, but he had input and supervision from me. And I'd say for Duarte, it was a really productive experience. For me, it was a really productive experience, as well as for the institution, because we were able to Duarte was able to develop experience, skills, and all of us were really interested in developing relationships and coming together to work on a project that we could be proud of in partnership with the council.
Sure. Okay, so the council were the other actor, and also the clinical commissioning group, which is the NHS part of the work that was taking place. And our motivations were, well, firstly, we had some budget that was taken from council budgets and NHS budgets to be able to expand the website, and also that we had young people who said, okay, I do need to go to this website to get information about sexual health clinics or contraception services, but I don't want to go to the old website that's synonymous with chlamydia, and I want something that's not patronising to me, because the old one had little cars that drove. I thought they were quite cute, but obviously they wanted something that looked very now, that represented them and represented Camden. And in terms of the contribution, we talked about the finance, but also we were able to help Duarte to find young people that he could engage with and get views from, and they had him training around some of the young people's events and trying to get views directly from them, which was fun. And also in terms of project outcomes, it was an opportunity for us to employ and help with that employment driver that we've got in the Camden plan, a local graduate. And it reflected all of the needs, the council needs and the organisation's needs. And, sorry, first time I've seen this slide. And it reflected the views of the young people who were ultimately the consumers of this website.
So the other actor that was in the picture was Regents High, and we got involved with their art and design A-level students, and a few volunteers from their A-level group came forward, and they were interested in working on a project at CSM, and their motivation was that they were interested in finding out more about what it would be like to study at CSM, which is this big kind of global institution in their local area. And they were able to contribute from the perspective of the consultant audience, and also sort of work with Duarte and work with us to generate content for the website, and in particular, they shot films of the local neighborhood. So the students were able to learn more about CSM, and they were able to contribute to the design and content of the website, which is now being used across Camden. And two of the students actually plan on applying, and I've agreed to write them reference letters, which they're really excited about. So the process involved a concept phase, a design phase, a testing and finishing phase. There was a structured approval process with regular meetings and young people involved at set points within all three phases. We ran workshops and informal design activities that young people participated in, but the bulk of the project entailed concept development through sketching and discussion, front-end design, and back-end development, which was mostly done in browser with some user testing. The role of design. Through this process, CSM was able to deliver website design in a way that proved to be sort of more interactive and engaging than I think was imagined at the beginning of the project. And we're proud of the fact that we helped the council hone in on an effective visual tone for communicating to young people that I think actually really matched the wonderful editorial tone in the written content that they supplied. And it was something that was difficult to describe and define at the start of the project. The outputs was, this is a little bit repeat, so I'm just gonna, basically, the project confirmed for us, though, that the council and the college kind of benefited mutually from the collaboration, and we all felt that what we did was greater than the sum of the parts. So the success was that we delivered an improved website. It's still early days for the website. Key shortcoming might be that there was slowness at both institutions, a university and a local government getting together. There is a little bit of bureaucracy. So that was the only shortcoming, though, really, from our perspective. The other barrier was that it was hard to get young people to become involved. We got a few, and we worked hard at getting a few. We would have liked to have gotten more. And I think this is the sort of really key point. What really enabled this project to be successful was that Camden's budget for the project was appropriate, and it gave CSM and Duarte enough space to put a lot of care and effort and reflection in. And it was a really exciting match between ambition and funding that sometimes doesn't happen, but really, I think, was the key to the success of the project.
My question is, who approached who initially? Who made the first move on this project?
Yeah, I've got a friend who actually works at Central St Martin's, so we'd been putting out feelers to all different designers to say, look, we need somebody to come up with a solution for an innovative website. And all of the responses that we were getting were very formulaic and very similar to what we had. And then somebody said to me, a friend of mine said, oh, why don't you approach one of your local universities? They've got loads of people who are working and studying web design and graphic design, and it led from there, really, with your innovation centre.
Actually, I've changed my question based on your answer there. So I'm assuming then, well, I won't assume, so was the sort of socially engaged element of it and the socially innovative elements of it part of the reason why you were interested in working on that project?
Well,
more so than were it a different type of
me personally, I was really interested in working with local government in the UK for the first time. I'd never worked with local government in the UK before, and that was a definite. I was interested in what that experience would be like, and it was a great first experience working with local government. And then, kind of in relation to the answer I just gave, a content that has that kind of loadedness, that has all of the challenges that are associated with this content, is just an excellent design opportunity. There are really interesting meaty design challenges in there that I think Duarte and I really enjoyed thinking through.
And it was a long process, so there were so many times that I would go to meetings and then Duarte, the designer, would have all these amazing ideas of how to, get messages about drugs and alcohol and sex out, and then I would have to sort of say, well, that's a great idea, but, because there are so many risk elements related to it, and as a local authority, you have to really think about that. So I think it was a really interesting process of trying to get that balance between what can really hit home and what's going to benefit the users the most.
Just a quick question as to whether you find sometimes the richness of the process is equaled by the richness of the outcome, and how you see that.
I guess that's a really broad question about design, maybe. I always think that the best design comes from the most genuine, reflective journey, and you don't often have the luxury to engage in that fully in projects with certain kinds of commercial or external constraints. And so what worked about, and that's what I was saying before about the budget being really matched to the ambition, the budget gave enough space for there to be the kind of reflection that I think is needed to get to a really robust, meaningful, genuine piece of design.